care about is telling Emily Rose's story. I want people to hear what only I can tell.
And what is that?
What really happened to Emily and why.
So I've watched a lot of horror movies over the years. Some of them make me jump, some make me laugh, and some I forget the second it ends. But every once in a while, you run into a movie that doesn't just scare you in the moment. It follows you home. It stays with you when you turn off the lights. You start thinking about it at 3 a.m. when your house is quiet, and suddenly the corner of your room doesn't feel safe anymore. That's the kind of fear I'm talking about. Not cheap jump scares, but the kind of horror that burrows into your head and won't let go. For me, that movie was The Exorcism of Emily Rose. Now, when most people think of exorcism movies, they immediately think of The Exorcist from 1973. And yeah, that's a classic. But when I saw The Exorcism of Emily Rose for the first time, it hit me differently. I wasn't just watching a horror movie. I felt like I was watching something that could actually happen, something that might have already happened, and that's what made it so much scarier. The movie is based on a real case, and that little sentence right there changes everything. You can watch all the slashers, ghosts, and monsters you want, but once you hear based on a true story, your brain refuses to shut off afterward. You start wondering how much of it was real, how much was exaggerated, and if any of it could happen to you. And here's the thing about Emily Rose. It doesn't just throw demons in your face. It mixes horror with the courtroom drama. Half the movie feels like a legal thriller, and the other half feels like the devil is climbing out of your TV screen. That combination makes it feel unsettling in a way no other exorcism movie does. There's one scene I'll never forget. Emily's roommate's boyfriend wakes up in the dorm and sees her on the floor, twisted and contorted in an unnatural position, staring with wide, lifeless eyes. It's one of the creepiest moments because the movie doesn't rely on loud sound effects or jump cuts. The camera just lingers on her, letting you take in how wrong her body looks and how eerie the silence is. That silence is what makes it worse. You're waiting for a scream, for some kind of big scare, but it never comes. Instead, you're stuck watching her frozen, almost animalistic, like she's not human anymore. Emily is in her dorm room, lying in bed, and suddenly she wakes up at exactly 3 a.m. The movie tells you that 3 a.m. is the devil's hour. And once you hear that, you can't unhear it. So every time I woke up at 3 in the morning after watching this movie, I couldn't just roll over and go back to sleep. I had to check the corners of my room. I had to look at the clock and hope it wasn't 3. That idea stayed in my head for months. But the way the movie shot that scene is genius. Emily wakes up, she smells something burning, and then suddenly her body locks up. She falls to the floor in this twisted, unnatural position, and you feel every second of it because the sound design makes you hear the strain in her throat, the cracks in her bones. Watching it made me feel like my own body was tightening up. And that's the thing. The movie doesn't rely on fast, loud jump scares. It takes its time. It makes you sit there and watch Emily's body bend in ways it shouldn't, while her eyes are wide open in terror. And the worst part? Nobody else sees it. When she tries to explain what happened later, people treat her like she's crazy. That's where the horror really hit me. Because what if it happened to me? What if something unexplainable attacked me in the middle of the night, but no one believed me? That kind of fear doesn't go away when the credits roll. Another scene that still creeps me out is when Emily's walking across the campus, and she starts seeing faces. Everyone around her suddenly looks demonic, twisted, and unnatural. The movie doesn't use big CGI effects. It's just subtle, distorted faces, but that's enough. It makes you question reality. Like, what if the people you're walking past on the street aren't what they seem? What if you're the only one who can see the truth? And then, of course, the exorcism itself. Jennifer Carpenter, the actress who played Emily, gave one of the most terrifying performances I've ever seen. A lot of people don't know this, but many of the contortions she does in the movie weren't CGI. She could actually twist her body like that, which makes it 10 times worse, because your brain doesn't get the safety net of, oh, it's just special effects. No, that's a real person bending in a way that looks absolutely inhuman. And the movie does something that most horror movies don't even try. It leaves you with doubt. The courtroom scenes keep asking, was Emily really possessed? Or was she just mentally ill? The defense attorney argues one side, the prosecutor argues the other, and you, the audience, are stuck in the middle. That's scarier than any demon, because it makes you wonder what's real and what's not. The movie never gives you a clean answer, and that uncertainty follows you long after the movie ends. I remember finishing the movie and just sitting there in silence. Not because of a jump scare, not because something popped out at me, but because the idea of it wouldn't leave me alone. If it was possession, then that means evil like that exists in the real world. And if it wasn't possession, then it means Emily suffered and died because no one believed she needed help. Both options are horrifying. That's why The Exorcism of Emily Rose isn't just another scary movie for me. It's the one that genuinely kept me up at night. It didn't just scare me in the theater. It made me question things. It made me think about faith, science, and the possibility of evil in ways that no other horror film has. So yeah, out of all the horror movies I've seen, The Exorcism of Emily Rose is the one that truly scared me. Not for a cheap moment, but for a long time afterward. It's the kind of horror that seeps into your everyday life. Anyway, that's my experience. Now, I want to hear yours. What's the one movie that genuinely scared you? Not just a little jump, not just a spooky monster, but a movie that stuck in your head and made you scared weeks, months, or even years later. Let me know in the comments. I'm curious to see which ones messed you up as much as Emily Rose scared me.